Hey, have you seen what Hamilton's pro soccer team has been up to?
Sure, we love Forge FC. The game day experience at Tim Hortons Field is big time.
We love it too. Are you guys going to see them play Toronto FC?
Forge is playing Toronto FC, but that's an MLS team. What's that about?
It's the semifinals of the Canadian Championship. Hamilton versus Toronto. I love it anytime we put Hogtown in its place. It's all going down July 10th at Tim Hortons Field.
Count us in. How do you get tickets?
Same as any Forge match. Go to forgefc.ca/tickets or call 905-527-FORGE.
This is Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell on the Forge Audio Network.
Welcome to this episode of Forge Daily. I am your host, Mackenzie Barwell, checking in on match day -2. Today's June 21st, 2024. Forge FC to match up against Valour this Sunday. Both teams looking to get back into the win column as Forge are coming off a draw against Halifax and Valour a loss against Pacific. So we'll get to that match, plus a brief update to the CPL standings, surprisingly, some internal stats for this Forge side, and then talk to Alexander Achinioti-Jönsson, get his thoughts on each one throughout the episode. Before we get to the nitty-gritty though, I had to start by asking him what it's been like playing in this heat and what the focus of practice was today, because if you've stepped outside, you know that it's a bit warm.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big factor, especially with the humidity also playing a big role. You kind of gotta control what you're doing in practice on the ball and off the ball, and not try to run too much. If you know, I mean, obviously do the work, but not maybe have unnecessary transitions. Try to keep more control. I think we're looking a bit at how we play out of pressure and how we want to initiate players and stuff. So that was a big one for the day.
Now, I didn't think I'd have to provide an update on what's going on around the league until next week. However, York and Pacific played a midweek match on Wednesday, and it would be York United to steal the 3 points away from them and bump themselves up to second place now. A lot of people are impressed with this nine-stripe side as of late, especially after beating a first-place Atletico Ottawa last week. So you might be wondering, what exactly does this mean for Forge? Well, now they sit in 5th with 9 matches played, and then above them in order, we've got Vancouver FC, Pacific, York, and now still Atletico Ottawa at the top of the table. I will say though, this midweek match kind of came out of nowhere. There were no cancellations, and now York and Pacific with 11 matches played. As I mentioned earlier, I do want to go over these individual stats for the Forge side just to gauge where everybody is at. Tristan Borges and Benny Vanabanga lead in goals scored. They've got 3 each. Tristan Borges also leading the assist category with 4 total. And then on the defensive end, Malik still leading the tackles category with 23, but not far behind him is Daniel Para. So that's also worth noting. Going even further back on the pitch for this Forge side and looking at the 2 goalkeepers here, Chris Kalongo and Jas Khalilat. Even though Jas has half as many appearances as Chris, he does lead in clean sheets with 2, but on the flip side, Chris leads in saves made with 18. So in my conversation with Alex, I asked him, A, going back to the CPL standings, what he makes of Forge being in the position they're at now, and if he thinks about that at all, and B, as a defender, what kind of confidence it gives him knowing that there's 2 quality goalkeepers in the rotation competing for a starting spot.
I honestly don't look too much at the standings. I think I know it's tight right now, but I don't know the exact numbers or anything. I know what we gotta do to be where we want to be, and that's just winning games. So every time we're not, I'm not happy. No, I think they've both done great, and it's obviously I'm glad I don't have to make the decision of who to play. That's up to the coaches and the keeper coach Johan. So obviously it's great for us as defenders to have that security behind us, because you feel more confident in the way you play yourself. So I know it's great.
Switching gears now to this Valour matchup. As some of you may know, they haven't been in the best form in 2024. Their loss to Pacific would change their record to 2 wins, 1 draw, and 7 losses. They still remain at 7th in the CPL table. However, it is worth noting that in this Pacific game, they went down 2-0 going into the half, and then were able to tie it up in the 62nd minute thanks to Sean Hundal and Jordy Swibble. This game was actually decided in a very strange fashion. It was a free kick for the Pacific side in the Valour final third. Sean Hundal would get up to try and head the ball out of safety, but it would end up going into the back of the net. So the game was ultimately decided on an own goal. And this has been the case for Valour a lot of the times, not necessarily the own goal, but results being determined off of marginal goal differential. Even looking at their first and only matchup against Forge at the beginning of the season, Forge taking it 2-1, but that's because Noah Jensen came off the bench and scored in the 93rd minute. So I asked Alex what has to happen for Forge to take control earlier on and not, of course, leaving the game up to stoppage time, and what kind of difference it'll make playing at home for the first time in 2 weeks.
I think we need to keep focus throughout the entire game. I think when we keep our focus and the intensity up, we're very good, but sometimes when we score this year, I feel like we've gone down in focus a bit, and that's kind of what we saw against Halifax, where we get scored because we lose the ball in transition. We're not sharp enough. So I think it's important, like I said, we also emphasize when it's warm out that we control the game and try not to make it into transitions and too much running. We control the game offensively and defensively, and I think that's key. Well, obviously with the fans and everything, they've been amazing this year, and I hope it keeps going the way it has been going and just keeps increasing. And then obviously with travels being as long as they are in Canada, that also has a big factor on when you have 2 weekends in a row when you're flying and traveling. It takes a toll on the body, so it's nice being back home.
Last but not least, as some of you may know, this weekend is our Forging the Future game, so we've got some kids stepping in different game ops roles, including in-game host, PA, referee, graphic design, social media coordinator, all the things. I think I mentioned them in an episode earlier this week, but I couldn't let Alex walk away without asking him first which one he'd want to be.
I'd take your job, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you would not.
Yeah, I would.
No,
you just walk around and talk to people. That seems nice.
Yeah, no, it is fun.
Yeah.
But I feel like, would you
I don't
want to
wanna
be on the video board and be like, let's go?
Okay, no, I wouldn't want that. But I also wouldn't want to be a referee. And I don't like social media enough to do that. And I can't remember the last one you said, so that just leaves the one.
Graphic design?
Oh, graphic design, but I'm not very good at
I thought you were gonna say graphic design.
I thought about it, but I'm not very good at drawing and stuff. So.
Okay, so apparently Alex may be stealing my job. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. That'll wrap it up. Don't forget, on Sunday, tune into One Soccer and watch your Forge FC take on Valour.
This has been Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share.